Speaking of your quarterback, let's do it. Hey, Eric Burkhardt, 2 days before you got to hit a press conference at the Combine, releases a great piece of content.
Mm-hmm.
Not a screenshot of the notes section. Actually had a header and everything in there. Laid out what Kyler has done for the Cardinals, what they're expecting for the Cardinals, what the Cardinals can do to make said letterhead go away. Then you answer and Cliff answers and say, hey, business, we'll figure it out. Instagram. Kyler takes off. He took off fucking everything he had of the Cardinals. We had to cover it day-to-day conversation. We're like, oh, well, this is obviously becoming something. He's not at OTAs now. So now the full conversation is the Kyler Murray-led Arizona Cardinals have been very successful. Obviously, you've been leader of the Cardinals at the same exact time. You guys have said he's our future quarterback. He's our future quarterback. He's in our plans. He's electrifying. We all know that. Where does that stand? And do you just assume that that'll get figured out like businesses in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a timing thing, Pat. It's every quarterback that's done it before has done it from anywhere from July to September, and no different for us. I mean, I have to get prepared for the NFL draft. That requires a lot of hours of tape watching, free agency at the same time, and it's not easy. So your time is really taken up in a lot of different directions, and you have to prioritize it. And we know that he's under contract for another year and also the fifth-year option. And he is our future. We feel that way strongly, and I feel like we'll be able to get something done this summer.
I think, I know I am not aware of how often people can talk when it comes to you being a GM and someone's agent for someone like Kyler, who you said is your future. Is it something where when you are in a situation like this, do you guys talk daily, weekly? Like, do you go long chunks of time? How does that work?
Yeah, I think whenever the conversations and I would say the negotiations ramp up, you talk on a daily basis back and forth. I have a good relationship with his agent, Eric Burkhardt. He also represents Cliff, which is a little unusual, I know.
But hey, got a deal done. Got a deal done.
That's right.
You guys are deal makers. You guys are getting deal done.
But Pat, as big as a wrestling fan as I am, and congrats on WrestleMania, I was thinking maybe you set up a cage match between me and Burkhardt.
Yes! Yes!
Let's go.
Hey, listen, I don't know what the letter will look like that he'll write afterwards from the hospital, but I got a feeling you will beat the fuck out of him.
When you think back before you drafted Kyler, like how early on did you know, hey, 100% this is the guy?
So, obviously making that decision after having a coach for 1 year, a quarterback for 1 year, and taking him in the top 10, it was difficult because, your ego gets in the way and you don't want to admit to a mistake. Yet at the same time, it's those opportunities in life when you have to take some risk. And when has anybody ever become rich not taking risks? You know what I mean? You gotta be able to put them out there to get something going. And I was watching Nick Bosa left and right, and I fell in love with him. And next thing you know, I didn't even want to watch Kyler. And I started watching him against Alabama. In the second half, he launched 165 off his left foot, and it looked like a shortstop throwing somebody out at home, and it just perfect pass, touchdown. And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to take this guy.
Here we go. I don't know how many humans can do this particular move right here. And then there's always been the flashes of like, oh, this guy is the next guy. This guy is the next guy. I would assume as you guys chat, he has to be like, is he taking massive steps? Does he know that, hey, he can be the fucking guy? Like, I've never chatted with him really more. Do you get a sense that Kyler knows that he can be the fucking guy? Because everybody on earth, I think, believes that right now.
He does. And he's a football junkie. That's the one thing about him. He loves watching film of players, and he'll shoot me texts before the draft, or we'll talk about guys that he likes. And it's exciting because, to me, the great ones, the guys who are really bought in, really have that mindset that they want to have other good players around them. They want to build something special. And again, I think he's that kind of guy.
Great leadership. I'm excited to see what you guys do with him long term. Last question here, Steve. We can't thank you enough for your time. Go ahead, Tom.
Steve, there's been a lot of new GM hires in the last year or two. Do you already know those guys, like building relationships because they've been in the league for a while? And do you have to immediately call them, congratulate them because you may be doing business with them soon?
Yes, we generally I do know most of them. There have been a couple of the last few years that have been hired that I wasn't familiar with, but you get to know them pretty quickly at owners' meetings and those sort of things. But it's interesting because it's in this business it's constantly moving parts, and it's like a turnstile for GMs, and it's getting harder and harder because people's expectations are so high that they don't want to hear about rebuild. They don't want to hear it. So you have to make it happen now. And if you don't, you're going to be out of a job.
Yeah, it feels like you guys have taken that, run with that, and you're ready to go.
Steve, obviously, it looks Kyler's going to be around. He's your quarterback of the future, but I can't remember the last time a guy was picked in the first round in both sports. Was there ever any sort of concern, like, hey, if this isn't a smashing success right away, this guy might go play baseball?
Well, I mean, obviously he has that opportunity because of his skill set, but on the time when we went to Norman, Oklahoma, and we visited with Kyler, made it pretty clear that football was his passion and his love. And then as well as, when you do these things, and it was so important to get his contract done before we drafted him with the first pick, is to make sure you have some language in there that protects yourself from the baseball. So there's a number of different reasons why I think he'll continue to play football. I don't know that he'd be really excited to get on the single-way bus driving from Harrisburg to Shamokin, PA.
Hey, he's a great video gamer, though.